Are we up? I don't see any video coming through yet. There we go. All right. YouTube's a little bit laggy today. All right. Wait for a couple people to join. We'll get started here. Things are markets looking definitely interesting. We've been chopping low and slow. Unfortunately, a little bit too choppy, but it is what it is. All we can do is be patient and kind of, wait for the market to come to us. And so I think from that perspective, I think we're in a good spot. So let's get right to it. Public show here today. Haven't done it in a while, and I think it's a good weekend to do it. I think Aram's out. Um, Mike's been working lately, so the Blair. What's up, Blair? How you doing, bud? Yeah. I kind of like the market. Wish it was a little bit more uppity. It's obviously not. Yesterday we had another move lower. We did have an undercut and rally candle right here. This green candle, middle of the day yesterday. Yeah, I've been pretty good, man. Today was a. I'll tell you a little bit more about my day yesterday later. Uh, there's some stock trading stuff, pretty interesting stuff. Um, but yeah, so let's start on the daily, start in the big picture. Big picture stuff, I mean, market's looking pretty good. There's not really a lot to be unhappy with right now in the market. I think the market is in a good spot. I think it's just taking its time. Now, we talked, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago now about we went through all the BTC halvening cycles. And I know a lot of people have gone through that. I do stuff on my own. I don't really want to unless if someone asks me to comment on some work, I'll do that someone else has done, but I don't go searching for it. I usually just do my own charting. You learn more that way. So what I found out is that when the halvening happened, and this light dotted line is when the halvening happened, it usually happens in the middle of a base. Almost every single time that we've had a halvening event, it's happened in the middle of a base. I'm not sure if one of these charts has the lines on it. At least I think it does. But I had too many charts up. Anyway, so it happens in the middle of a base. And so that's exactly what's happening now. We're in the middle of a base, right? And so from that perspective, you have to love what's happening because if you're of the bias that when Bitcoin halves, supply goes down and therefore prices rise, which is the whole theory behind the halvening, we're right on target. We're right on target here. So we're in the middle of the base. We're actually in the later stages of this base. And so from this perspective, you got to be loving this price action, low and slow. Um, so this is a double bottom base. Some people may call it a cup and handle. It's actually a double bottom with a handle. If you don't know what the double bottom is, it's a base that is shaped like a W, where the right leg undercuts the left leg. Common misconception. So you have a prior uptrend, you come down, you go up to an interim high, and then you roll over, taking out that first leg low, shaking out the people that want to sell, and then you go back up, and your buy point is that intermediate high. Notice I can't draw a straight line. So that's your buy point, and that's what the 72,713 is right here. That's our intermediate term high buy point, and then you continue on with the move. Now we have a double bottom, and we're getting a handle here. Getting a handle. It's kind of chilling sideways, moving down. Really not doing anything too bad. Average volume continues to go down. So volume generally is declining. We haven't really had an above average volume day here going on about a week or so. So we're in a pretty good spot. We're in a low volume area. If you see this lower trend line with an upward rise to it, that is providing us kind of the angle of attack for this whole rally. And so you can see what the market's been doing. Came from low, and it changed the angle to more aggressive. And ideally, we can hold that all the way up and through. Now, the last halvening day, we can go back 4 years, which is sometime in 2020, whenever it was in 2020. I don't freaking know. Somewhere in here. Could have been in here. I don't remember. But again, in the middle of a consolidation. And then we went on a huge run. Pretty much, obviously about every huge run. 2016 would have been the next one. I think it was maybe right there. Maybe the front of these blue boxes. So that one kind of already started consolidating. and then that was the run, and then that was that run. So things tend to get a little bit, especially with BTC, the runs tend to get less aggressive from a price percentage perspective. So this one goes from 9,000 to, I had this marked up. I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, it looks like those charts went away. Must be all in this chart. So, but 1,000% here, 3,000% here, 13,000% here. Yeah, it was this chart. 13,000. So you can see the amplitude is going down by about a third each time, actually, about. So would we expect a 300% rally from this point if you're keeping with things being um, on point? Now I think that was from. It's been a long time since I did this. I don't remember. Hey, what's up, Ian? That's the first Ian, not the other Ian. So I think that's from the halvening date. So let's go from the halvening date, and we'll go up 300%. Because again, we notice we're going down, and we're going down in amplitude. So next time it would be 100%. So let's go from here, and we'll try to rally 300%. Obviously, it's not that high. That's pretty good. 270,000, so $250,000 of Bitcoin. So maybe that's this run. Maybe that's the future here. I mean, nobody knows. Just conjecture based off of percentages and previous runs and blah blah blah. Um, but those can do pretty good. I mean, we've had some success in the past. Quite a bit of success actually calling the levels on this really accurately. It got a little harder since then. Obviously, the COVID thing was the COVID thing. Things did start changing though after COVID. It hasn't been as volatile, but anyway, so yeah, maybe up to 200,000. So the question the question is, what does that mean? Like, how do you trade that? How do you take full advantage of that? What do you just buy Bitcoin? You just buy leverage? Um, do you borrow money? Well, first of all, you don't borrow money. That's a fool's errand. I would argue for everyone that has success doing that, and I have heard people having success with that. I would argue there's probably 1,000 people that just got ruined by doing that, and hopefully ruined to a small degree, but we never know. So, how do you best take advantage of this? Well, um, I think it depends on your location. I'm in the U.S. It's kind of hard to freaking trade crypto. I was actually Googling it this morning. I'm like, we're going to rally. I want to be in on this thing. How am I going to get in? So looking at Kraken, even though I hate Kraken, kind of the only option. And I'll probably be looking into that a little bit later today. But yeah, this market is looking good. Bitcoin cycle's looking like all the boxes are being checked right now. Things are looking excellent. I don't think there's too much to be bearish about. Um, so until the market breaks down, you have to keep a bullish tendency. You have to keep looking out. You have to keep your eye on things. You have to make sure that you know you are in a spot where you can make a wise decision, get a low risk entry, and hopefully you ride this thing all the way to the top. That's really the ideal, right? Is ride this thing as far as you can. If we're going to go up 300%, we'll get a base or two in between, right? Like this was the last big rally. That was about a 300% rally coming from the lows to the highs. Yeah, 286%. So, and what do we have in the interim here? Well, we have an expansion up. We have kind of this was a crazy shakeout. This one in March that shook everybody out. If you have stop losses and positions and things like that. In other words, if you're not just hodling. So that shook everybody out. But then you come back a little low and slow. But then we get a nice extension up here after this intermediate consolidation slash base. Uh, Once that broke out, that's pretty good one. Once that broke out, we got a nice extension up. So no one knows what the future is going to hold, but we're definitely in a position where market's looking good. Is 10 Bitcoin enough to retire? Um, I don't know. It's going to be if this price prediction is accurate, and who knows if it is, it'd be about 2 million bucks. But I don't know. I think that depends. The retirement question I think is an interesting one. Um, I don't even know what retire means. you know, the more you talk to the more you talk to people who are successful. Okay, let's talk about retirement for a second because I think there's a kind of a misnomer around that. So retirement. I'm 45 years old. I just turned 45 like a week ago, less than a week ago. So happy birthday week to me. I'm 45 now. Um, I've been doing stocks since I was about 21, 22 years old, give or take. I don't know exactly when I started. It wasn't like an exact date, but and then crypto since 2017. And I probably could retire now. Probably could. I got enough to. Um, but what would I do? You know what I mean? So the question is 10 Bitcoin enough to retire? Say you had 2 million bucks. Like once you get down to brass tacks, what is retirement? It's either you sitting in a hole doing nothing, slowly dying, or you continue doing doing what you're doing. And I hope it's the latter. So, if you got 10 BTC at 200,000 in BTC, first of all, it won't be up there very long if that's the peak, right? Let's be clear about that. It won't be up there very long. Um, Most of these highs, this goes from 60,000 down to 30,000. So who knows what the price action is going to be like up here, right? But I think it's 2 million is great. You can do a lot with $2 million, but you realize you still can't do a lot with $2 million. And if you've got the skill set, if you build a trading skill set to be able to make it to 10 BTC to $2 million, you're going to keep trading. Like my retirement would be trading, woodworking, probably building houses, and if depending how much money I ended up with, would be trying to work on homeless stuff probably. So is it enough to retire? Yeah, sure. 2 million, you could retire. The other thing is that you're gonna have to pay taxes on that. So your 2 million, I don't know what you start with, but let's say you made 100%. Let's say you made 300%. So you start with 3 BTC right now, which is 180,000, something like that. Just call it 200,000 because 70 would be 210. So 200,000 to 2 million. Um, that doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound right at all, does it? 500,000. So let's say you pay taxes on $1 million. So then you're left with 400,000. So your 2 million is actually less when you take taxes into account. So yeah, maybe not. Maybe probably won't be able to retire. It probably would be a little frustrating. So I would argue for those of you looking to retire, work a little bit harder now. I busted my ass for the past 20 years, and it's got me in a good spot. It's got me in a great spot. I do a lot of things, probably far too many things um, that most people do. I find that at my job, I do have a 9 to 5. I went back to work about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. It'd be 2 years and 3 months, so year and 9 months, and went back to work after doing the real crypto thing full time for about 4 years. I was kind of bored at home, so it was kind of nice to go back to work. It still kind of sucks going back to work though, like I get it, but I don't know, where the hell was I going with this? There was a point I was trying to get to. I forgot it, but anyway. Oh yeah, yeah, working a bunch, doing a bunch of stuff. I do I do 2 shows in the morning before work. Then I go to work for 8 hours, and then yesterday I sit at my kids' karate class for 3 hours. I did I read the EIBD paper, worked on some Chat GPT projects. Um, yeah, and did some family personal stuff. But I used to do side jobs. I used to, I probably made $100,000 off a side work. So, I think you got to have a side hustle. I think you gotta do a lot of things. You got to stay busy, and then you'll find out what you really like. Then you can retire. So, yeah, hopefully I'll be able to quit my job probably, hopefully this year. I'm hoping. And then, so, but quitting my job entails me, let me tell you what trading full time looks like for me. No one asked that question, but it has come up in prior shows. And so, yeah, so retirement to me looks like trading full time. That's what it looks like. My kids are younger, they're 10 and 13, and trading full time for me is being able to do stuff with them on my timetable, not have to worry about my job, not having to worry about um, demands of clients and stuff like that. So trading full time, though, a lot of people say, "Hey, can I trade full time?" That would be my version of retirement, is trading full time. How I'm able to do it, because I am 45 with obligations and enough of them, is a paid off house, um, about a quarter million in cash, minimum 100,000 in cash with a paid off house. And the way our financial situation works, and every family is different, I pay the mortgage and my wife pays the rest of the bills. So, and she's cool with the plan. I'm like, okay, if I got enough to pay if I pay the mortgage off and cash flow this renovation we're doing and have 100,000 in cash, she's perfectly fine with me trading full time. So I think put things in perspective, Midwest Picker, when it comes to retirement, trading full time. Um, Put in a rational plan. A lot of people will quit a job, will quit an occupation, and have a hard time jumping back in when things don't work out trading, because trading is difficult, very difficult. I had a thing yesterday with trading, intraday trading, which I don't usually do, but I saw. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys. Nvidia. This Nvidia trade yesterday, freaking crazy. I want to do more. I'm getting better at intraday trading. I'm not phenomenal at it. It just doesn't really suit my personality. But this Nvidia trade yesterday, I did it with options, and if I could find more setups like this, the problem is I'm not super focused. I'm not a very focused individual. Even with things I really care about, I can get sidetracked easily. So I'm trying to work on that. So I saw this chart yesterday, or I saw this chart yesterday. That's what I saw on Nvidia yesterday. Does anyone, if anyone's even still here, does anyone see what I saw on this chart yesterday? So if you guys don't know what the stock market did yesterday, it sold off really hard in the morning, really hard. The Soxel was down like 8%. Nvidia was down, um, as much as 3 to 4%, and it slid the prior day. Does anybody know what I see in this chart? It may take a minute for you guys to answer. I'm actually going to go fill up my water cup, which I forgot to do before the show here. So somebody answer, some people watching, somebody answer what I see in this chart. I'll be back in less than 30 seconds. No one's answering. Okay. Well, I'll tell you anyways. What I saw was an inverted head and shoulders pattern. And this right shoulder was forming. It it wasn't formed, it was forming, okay? So I saw that Nvidia, top leading stock, one I've done extraordinarily well with this year. I see that, I'm like, holy shit, this thing is gonna freaking bottom here, and the whole market's gonna bottom. And you look at this declining volume signature when we talk about chart patterns. Uh, the declining volume on an inverted head and shoulders pattern implies that selling pressure is decreasing, right? So you have high volume here. So here's the left shoulder. You have high volume in this area. Then you take another leg lower, which creates the head, and you have high volume in this area, but it's less volume than this. And then you come down a third time and you have even less volume. Look at this volume. It's really super low. And yesterday was Friday. It happened to be, I'm an options trader, and I happened to be looking at the options for NVIDIA, and I realized, so first of all, inverted head and shoulders has a measured move that you can derive a target from. So I did this, which is how you take the head to the neckline, So this diagonal is called the neckline, goes from the points between the head and shoulders on each side of it. Okay, and then you take this to the breakout point, and that's your target. So I derived the target from that. I'm like, oh shoot, it's like one. Well, on this chart, it's 110. It was 114 yesterday, 113. And I'm like, okay, it's probably not going to get to that. I realized that the second, like another 30, 40 minutes had passed here. But we were in a good spot. We were in a really good spot. We did move up here, and we started moving up later in the day. Did pretty good on this one. So all the money that I lost on the way down from multiple positions, I made back on this one trade. So it was a pretty interesting day. But I got shaken out a little bit too soon because I don't do this. I don't do intraday trading very often, and I'm very skittish. So I ended up selling prematurely, and that position, I think I made like $6,000, which was all I lost, which really wasn't a bad day. I lost like $6,000 that day. It's like, okay, you need to get out of the damn market. And then I got out, and then I saw this, and I got back in, and I made that 6,000 back. But if I'd have held till up here, I'd have made 60 grand off of the option. So, you know, that's what trading full time I think would allow me to would handle this situation better. And there'll be other opportunities, but um, yeah, that was a really really interesting one. So seeing that in real time, especially my job because I was in the shop yesterday with my computer out, and it was a great opportunity. So good stuff yesterday. And the stock market's looking good. So we'll do some stock market stuff later in the show. But for right now, let's get on with our general show. So this is my power hour public because most of my guys are on vacation. So someone to talk to, at least, I think. All right, let's go to 2 hour time frame. We'll start off with Bitcoin. We go through the top 20 altcoins and then any USD pairs that I see, any coins that you guys want to talk about. So yeah, so circling back to BTC, not in a bad spot. I in these handle situations like this, I handle these often, and you don't do anything until they break out or you find a definitive bottoming candle. We really haven't had either of those things happen yet, so there's really nothing to do at the moment, but I do believe that this is a point in time for the foreseeable future that you need to watch these charts, because if we do start to move up, it could happen rapidly. Now, we are fairly low volume. We're not low volume, but we're pretty low. Let's get some context to that. So let's take a look at the average volume, which is this orange line over the volume. And you know what? I'm just going to hide this chart actually, which I should be able to do up here, I thought. Hold on a second, guys. Cool guys here, dogs barking all the time, trying to get that to stop. So you guys should be able to see chat. Chat is open if you guys want to chat. It's just not on my screen. Usually is, but I took it off because YouTube puts it on the side anyways. Um, how do I hide this damn chart? I just want to see the volume, man. Nah. Well, I guess I'll just do it this way. All right, there we go. So let's look at the average volume, and we're at a pretty low level. So this is the index chart. This goes back to 2020. We can probably go to a weekly and maybe get a slightly better view of this with more data. So we are of a clip. There we go. So if you look at my horizontal line there, we're down at levels that we normally don't get back to. So if you look at it, I can't really move my cursor, otherwise that horizontal, I guess I could draw the line. I can point it out to you guys. So I'm slightly under volume. So the top of my line here, it should be the bottom of where we're at right now. So I want to do it so you can see it. Okay, so you can barely see the orange there. So let's see what we are at really low volume levels. We didn't quite get to it here. That was back in June, May of 2 years ago. And then here, which you can start to see in the chart, is right before we started the major turn up. And then here is on the way down. And then here we had less volume generally. So it's a bit of a different situation. Midwest Picker, do you think Bitcoin will go up soon? I'm thinking of selling somewhere 150K to catch alt rally. Um, so I just did some analysis earlier. I'm not sure if you saw it, where Bitcoin could get up towards 200,000. It's possible. In terms of selling some to catch an altcoin rally, that's a judgment call. It's truly a judgment call in the moment. When you look at volatility in cryptos, Bitcoin is generally the least volatile crypto. And then the lower down the market cap you go, generally the higher in volatility they get. So I guess I would ask you, what coins are you looking at? Um, Stuff like that, because BTC and alts can rally together, and they often do. They often do rally together, and you'll end up with Bitcoin going up X percent, Ethereum going up X plus 8%, BNB going up X plus X, well, X times. Let's do X times. BTC will be X. ETH goes up like X times 1.5. BNB goes X times 2. Solana goes X times 4. You know what I mean? So it's a situation where when they rally, oftentimes they rally together. And so if you're flipping to alts late, it may be too late. So if we throw Solana in here, you get Solana much more volatile than BTC. So you get, the way this works, it works from the left side of the chart. So like if I go to the bottom here, Solana beating out BTC by about 30% of the rally. So you go 16% to 21% or so. It's a tax-free out of trust iCapital retirement account that I lose 1% per trade. Oh, dang. Yeah. So in my paid show, we are, I mean, you'll see in a little bit here once we go through the top 20. We're going to go through all these top 20. If you want to, you can join the show. You can go to real-crypto.com and join the Power Hour. And we follow all these coins every day. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, they're all acting really good right now. Solana's been on a huge tear. BNB has extraordinarily tight price action. It really is kind of a stock picker's market, if you will. And it's hard to know which one's going to do best. BNB's rock solid. Ethereum gets pretty solid during major uptrends. It's been an interesting cycle. But the point is that when you look at this, if you wait for BTC to top, okay, BTC's topped. Let's say you're excellent at picking the top of BTC. BTC's topped at 73,000. Great. Okay, now I'm going to buy Solana. And here's Solana. You're going to get another 17% out of it, 20% out of it. It's kind of difficult. You're up 80%. To get that extra 20% to jump into something that's already rallied 50% is very, very difficult to do. Very, very difficult to do. So, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, just going through so many crypto cycles at this point, is that it's good to have a good balance. If you want to focus on one coin, it's a little dangerous. Even if BTC is fine because it's obviously the benchmark and the gold standard, no pun intended. But it is good to have kind of a mix. If you want to allocate, say, 50% to BTC and then take the other 50% and allocate it to 2 or 3 altcoins, you'll do pretty good with that. Your altcoin portfolio will probably outperform your Bitcoin portfolio on a percentage basis. It'll be more volatile, depending on your strategy. It will, end up doing this and that, right? But it'll be a little more volatile. Took a flyer on SHIB and Doge. Yeah, they've been surprisingly good this cycle for things that really shouldn't exist. At least, anyway, it's all good. I have fun with them. So, all right, let's go through the top 20 and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, BT. So, like I said, I talked a lot about things. I think BTC is I think this whole market's in a good spot, low and slow. We're ready and primed to go. It's just a matter of when we're going to do it. All right, let's move on to Ethereum. So we're going to start going down the top 20 here. So Ethereum, on the big picture, you got a cup and handle pattern. Let's go a chart or a trend line list for a second here. So Ethereum came up big, big consolidation, huge volume on this uptrend. I think ETH has potentially a long way to go. You have a massive cup and handle here, which I didn't even fully quite honestly notice until right now. Massive cup and handle here. If BTC goes up 300%, I just said these things usually do multiples. If this goes up 500%, you're looking at 20,000 Ethereum from 5,000 here. Your handle breakout would be at 4,000. So actually, that would be 20,000. That'd be 25,000. There is a potential for something like Ethereum to get that that high. It's potentially. I'm just saying. We're speaking of multiples. We're speaking of chart patterns. We're speaking of rallies. Like this rally here went from 164 to you know 5,000 in the end, peaking out here at 25. That's a 2,500%. I think is a lot to ask on something like Ethereum. I don't think you're going to get 2,500% out of it. Well, maybe from the low, right? But you get to 20,000, you're at 2,000% from the low. So we are in a situation where we're going to start seeing moves that a lot of newer traders have never seen. And even for kind of a seasoned trader like myself, sometimes it's hard to believe. It's just hard to believe it's actually doing this after talking about it for so long. A little bit like seeing a long lost, like, maybe you gave a daughter up for adoption when you were 16 years old and you see her when you're 52. You're like, holy shit. Like, you just can't believe it. Just crazy. But big pattern in Ethereum. This volume, I don't think can be ignored. I really don't in this situation. This volume right here, off of these lows, we had the 3217. These are all alerts from the Power Hour, by the way. Um, we have an alert system in the show, and you join our Slack channel when you get into the show and you get the alerts. But obviously breakout, declining wedge, all that stuff. But man, the volume here is crazy. Volume here is insane. Um, Especially going back, like zoom out. It's volume we really haven't seen, but only a couple of times. So you got here at the with some topping action, very high volume right there, and there's three of those candles here. You got this one right here, this one right here, kind of but that was a big accumulation bar. That's a good one to have, and you have these are on par with that, so pretty good stuff right there. You really don't have until you know this over here, these volume bars. Led to kind of a mini rally, but they were kind of strange bars. They weren't really breakout bars. Notice they didn't have the verticality that these bars do. Not even close. So that verticality is very important. You got some capitulation candles over here. Um, Capitulation candle right there. Big breakout candle right there at the start of this massive. It's looking a little more like this than it is like those other ones. So here you end up with zoom out, get some context to that massive candle. Here's a capitulation candle. And then this candle, look at this. That's all the way up after, I'm not sure if that's an ascending base. Probably not. And it probably wouldn't qualify as an ascending base. But anyway, huge move up out of a weird structure. We do see some of these vertical structures like this in crypto from time to time. This one's not very well formed. It's kind of, I guess it's just a channel. And then you break out of the channel and you rally hard. But that volume sustains these rallies, usually begins them, and is able to sustain them. So I really do think Ethereum is one to heavily watch. Um, so yeah, I really do. So I've gotten an alert of 38.15 at the moment. I don't think it's the best alert. It was a trend line break from a couple of days ago here, just because it was coming back nice and concisely. But the pattern up here is okay. We still could chop around for quite a while. It has respected that 38.13 though. Done a pretty good job. Um, this is the modern day gold rush, in my opinion, opportunity of a lifetime. Can I say something about that, Midwest Picker? Let me say something about that. Um, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. It's an opportunity. Okay, don't think of it like opportunity of a lifetime. If you think of it like that, and I don't know, every person's different. I'm not going to pretend to know how you think and how you operate, but cryptos, I love crypto. I think crypto's great. I think it is a paradigm of sorts. Is it a paradigm changer? It hasn't proven to be in the globe yet. I'm sure somebody will do something with it that seems very obvious but unexpected. Hasn't quite happened yet. Um, there's so much. I'm not sure Midwest. I'm guessing you're in the U.S. There is so much opportunity in the stock market. This is a general stock market every day. I just told you that thing about Nvidia. Um, trading is a profession. It is something you can learn. It is something. It is a skill set. Okay, you don't have to be naturally gifted to trade stocks well or trade crypto well, but um, it is an opportunity. It's a good one. Not of a lifetime though, Midwest. Not of a lifetime. One of many. And so when you think of it as an opportunity of a lifetime, you're like, oh, I gotta go all in, do this one thing, or I'm fucked, right? It's kind of like missing the love of your life. There's multiple of those too, okay? There just are, right? Like we all think these things are one and done. We think our lives are the most special. We think our time in history is the best. We think our political party is the best. We think all these things about ourselves are the best and usually once in a lifetime. They're not. There's a lot of opportunity, and when you start to realize that and believe that, you will take each opportunity, and you will what I do now is I try to look for those other opportunities that people think are once in a lifetime. People think Nvidia is a once in a lifetime opportunity. People think Tesla was a once in a lifetime opportunity. People think Microsoft was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Think Nvidia was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Think Bitcoin's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You think Ethereum is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Solana, BNB. Let's go down the list of things that went up 1,000x. But there's a list of them, okay? They're around. If you want to focus on those opportunities, that's one thing. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Um, if you want to focus on Bitcoin and get Bitcoin, I'm not mad at whatever you choose to do, but realize that there's lots of opportunities out there. Okay, most of them suck, but there's going to be, zero point zero 0.01 of there's going to be 0.01% of them. If you can focus on those, you can change your life for your lifetime. So, yeah, I definitely don't believe I don't 100% believe in that. I believe there are some opportunities of a lifetime, but there are several opportunities within your lifetime. Like getting Bitcoin at 12 cents. You're just stupid ass lucky. You're just if you get Bitcoin 12 cents, you hold it until if it goes up to 200,000. People thought, you can go back and look at things from 2013, 14, 15, 16. They're like, oh, when Bitcoin gets to 1,000, I'm going to sell, or 10,000, I'm going to sell. We're at $67,000, looking at maybe $200,000. So why would you sell? You know what I mean? So, from that perspective, put things in perspective. And it's an opportunity. And I think it's a good opportunity. Bitcoin's in a good spot. ETH's in a good spot. I just talked about this, potentially going up, doing percentages. Because I don't think people realize, as people focus on the large number, this is a percent. Markets are percentage based. I don't think people realize that. I mean, this really low $88 Ethereum. God, I feel dumb for not buying that down there. Okay, I'm far from perfect, but $88 Ethereum, for crying out loud, right? Um, at 88, did you think it was going to go to 5K? I'm sure a few people did. I'm sure a few people did. You know what I mean? There's always some people that, and some of those people are right. But again, they're like 0.1% of people. They're 0.1% of people. The rest of us are just normal people trying to make sense of what seems senseless. And it can happen. You can make sense of this stuff, but it is difficult to do. So let's be real. The best thing you can do is buy at the very bottom and sell at the very top. And the likelihood of doing that is very low. What? I'm doing my show. What's up? Scary demon. Got my hair. Get out of here. Love you. Okay, bye. My son just interrupted me saying he's a scary demon. Look at my hair. Love those moments. It's awesome. Kids are awesome. So, but yeah, so when I say this could go to 20,000, is it a crap? Is it likely? I mean, volume looks great. Charts look great. What's not to happen about it, But the best thing is to buy low and sell high. Very difficult to do. Hard for me to do as a trader, because I just see all the sideways, and my mind doesn't let me do that just the way I've trained myself. So that's the best opportunity, is to buy the lowest, sell the highest. But what's the people that buy the lowest don't even know what the highest is. There's gonna be a few people you hear, oh, I've had Bitcoin since 2015, I'm not selling it. Amazing. Congratulations. The rest of us, we're still trying to make it, right? So, but yeah, I think this is a great opportunity. This whole thing's a good opportunity. You're going to see these, we're going to spend most of our time on these, and we're going to blow through most of those. And honestly, these ones down here that we're going to blow through, all these ones are going to have good price percentage gains. It's going to be mixed, but they're going to have good price percentage gains. But in my opinion, in my experience, by focusing on the top quality assets, you have a good expectancy of good price action, more likely stability of move, and generally less volatility, while still getting excellent percentage gains. Okay, that's just generally what happens. All right, so Ethereum looking really good here. I got the 38.15. It's not a must buy, but it's a pretty good spot. It's a pretty good spot. Um, Next up, BNB. So I mentioned BNB earlier. I think BNB on, let's go naked chart here for a second. Look at how tight this thing is. BNB is really tight, really low volume. Look at the scope of this base, especially in all-time scales. This was a nice structure here. Look what it did. It basically, I think it exceeded the measured move from the low breakout point at least. If you go to the top breakout point, okay, it hit the measured. Yeah, it did hit the measured move. I remember this now. This hit the measured move. From low to high. So keep in mind, this goes from 21 up to 300, then from 300 to 600. Is this not on a log scale? It's not on a log scale. Oh, that's why. How was I not on a log scale? So that's log scale. We'll go naked chart. But again, look at the tight price action. Very, very high, tight, and concise. You could have a great launch off of this. You know, we're not going to get these runs probably. You know, these were all Binance coming of age. That's all these were. Binance coming of age, and this one was just a phenomenal rally. But oh, you know what? I didn't realize this. Look at this. Wow, look at that. All-time high breakout for BNB. So, yeah, we're at 600 now. This all-time high breakout is at 675. My alert here is currently 606. So, you guys can take this info, do what you want with it. Obviously, it's a public, public free show. If you do join the Power Hour, I mean, this is the stuff that we go through, and we focus on. When these coins rally, we'll be discussing exits. We'll be discussing, potential pullbacks, interim topping signatures, bases, and things that are possible to do in these markets. Yeah, but I really do like this BNB. I really low and slow. Daily. Let's do the volume thing like we did earlier with BTC. Pretty low volume spot. And it's actually dropping pretty dramatically. If you look at it, it's actually curling down on the right side. So we went high volatility on the way up, and we've been consolidating this whole low volume. So what does that imply? A lot of people, hey, what does that imply? Well, on the way up here, you get all this buying, and then the buying stops, right? And then we start the base, and the volume drops. Well, if the people that are holding BNB wanted to sell it, they would likely do so, and some did. Hence the consolidation in these large volume candles on the sell side. But as time goes on, less people get interested in selling, and then eventually the buyers step in. So you flip between buyers and sellers. That's all that happens. There's indecision, like you actually see on the chart here, between buyers and sellers. Then they come to a consensus. Okay, this was really low. The dip buyers come in, and then that brings in the breakout buyers, and then we all move up together. And we're going to do that again. So you go from low volatility to high volatility. Now this, you may say, Randy, well, look at all this. This was all low volatility. That means nothing. Well, look at the context of the price action. The price action is trash. So of course it's not going to do anything. Who cares about low volatility with long-term sideways action? That doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing. But then you start combining gorgeous uptrend, tight price action with low volume, then you've got something. Okay, it's all in context. Price and volume are in context of the other. Okay, they're in context of the other. So let's go naked chart again. Here's what I'm talking about. You rally up hard on volume. Look at the VA tool here. All these buyers, Look at the sellers. They're definitely lagging and they're not that aggressive. And then we're holding up nice and tight. We're straight up going sideways in here, guys. This is straight sideways. Now we get low volatility. I think I ran my breadth indicator and it didn't really do very much, but I'll put it up again. Breadth indicator. There it is. Oh, I didn't do it on this one. Look at that. Wow, that's pretty good. Okay, okay. So I developed this indicator for this kind of a situation. So this looks at low volume and low volatility and highlights those areas. Now, there's various shades of purple, and I think you can go up to 4. It goes back a certain period, and it says, okay, if it's one of the lowest, you give it a shade of purple. So here's a really light shade of purple, this one. Look at, like, that's one, and these are multiples. Look what's happening here. Low and slow, we just talked about declining volume. We talked about volatility. Look at that. All that purple right there, then boom. Look at this. This is nice. This is nice. So here's a plethora right there. That one didn't amount to much. But look at the context of the price action. You're not necessarily as intrigued with this anyways. But look at this. This is pretty cool. I like this. I think BNB is going to have a absolute monster run. Absolute. When exactly? Nobody knows. But I really do think that BNB is going to do good. Look at that. Look at that high concentration. And now, yeah, there's a lot of other purple lines here, but the point is in context of the price action. Because look, this RSI, you can say the same thing about the RSI. Oh, look at all these numbers, look at all these lines, right? You can say the same thing, but that's pretty cool. So low volatility in a base, at the end of a base, generally means good things. It generally means good things. And this is looking great. This is kind of what I was hoping to see. I didn't have an exact picture of what I wanted to see, but you got a plethora here of groupings of very tight, very low volume candles, and that's what this breadth indicator indicates. So BTC isn't quite the same. It's not quite the same. Not 100% sure why. This is an indicator I don't have up a lot. It tends to not do great all the time, but that's what I wanted to see on BNB. I pulled this up with BTC the other day, and I didn't see what I wanted to see. So there's really not a lot of tight price action right there. Well, maybe Midwest Picker. So when it comes to his comment, is Bitcoin prices infinity against the money printer over time? Well, let me ask you a question. And maybe it's a nonsensical question. And, you could be right. In my opinion, so let me just say this. It's a good idea to have some Bitcoin and hold some Bitcoin, maybe forever. Okay? For the situation that you're implying. But if the money printer stops printing, right? That's the problem. Or even if it keeps printing, but eventually when it stops printing, what will you be able to get for your digital dollar? That's the question. It's an unproven currency in the real world, and I mean, so far, like I couldn't really go out and buy a car with it. Maybe certain dealerships I could go do that. You can maybe buy a house with it, but it's Don, I'm happy for you and your people. um, yeah, but so yeah, I mean, I think you should hold some. I think everyone should have a cold wallet, a paper wallet of something like that, something off of something that can't be hacked. And I think that's great. I think everyone should have that. How much is up to you? But yeah, when our dollars become worth less and less, as they kind of have been obviously in this recent past, we still live in the dollar world. So until that completely, yeah, there's a reason. But they hold lots of stuff. I mean, they hold all kinds of stuff. They hold currencies from other nations. It's just I don't know. I really try to take a perspective of there's no conspiracies. There's only people doing wise things in the moment. Okay. And it's just multiple moments stacked up against each other. So, I mean, what's the U.S. government going to do with 200K of Bitcoin? What could it even rationally do? Can China 190? Nothing. They can't do anything with that. That's Chow. What's his name? Ming. What's Chairman Ming? Xi Jinping. That's his name. That's like his annual salary. So 190,000 BTC, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to do anything. You can't feed 1.5 billion people with 190,000 Bitcoin. It just won't happen. It's just unrealistic. So live your life, trade your account, you know, have your HODL, have your paper wallet. Um, yeah, if you want to hold that 10 BTC and just hold it, I think there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think everyone should hold a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? I really do think so. You should have dollars. I've thought about just buying Chinese dollars and holding on just to Chinese dollars because they're likely, if the U.S. does falter, they're likely the next ones up. But at the same time, like if you talk to all the people that believe the U.S. is going down, first of all, we're in the U.S., so why are we even wishing for that? It's kind of weird. Um, Second of all, you know, the currency between the dollar. If you look at this, is interesting. So this is actually a good talk I've been thinking about. U.S. versus China currency. Timestamp it. So if you look at currency's value over time, you're talking about empires dying, right? That's what you're talking about. Let's see if I can find the image I want to get to. Yeah, I think this is kind of the one. Um, but it doesn't have to do with yeah, big cycles over. It's a Ray Dalio thing. Relative standards, but there's buying pressure. There's like currency valuations. And it kind of goes with this chart. So you look at the U.S., which didn't exist. The U.S. currency does this. You look at China, right? You look at China, but if you look at their currencies, when the empires flip and the world's reserve currency changes, um, it's like right now, it's probably a really great value time to buy Chinese dollars. But the question is, will it even be the same currency? You know what I mean? Global reserve currency. Maybe this is the one I want to see. So Spain, Netherlands, France, UK, USA. Yeah, here you go. This is it. So they don't have China on this list, right? But if you look at the global reserve currencies, this is like the value of the current. Okay, a level relative to other empires. One is its peak. Okay, so if we're on the way down, if oh, here's China. They do have China on here. China's kind of on the way up, right? So if you're viewing, why you keep what? Hold on a second. All right. So if your view is that China's going to overtake the U.S. because that's the next candidate up, you buy Chinese yuan. That's what you do. You buy the Chinese currency. You probably weren't buying it in the 50s, but you buy it today with the expectation that it's going to be more valuable. Because look at the British pound. Look at how much it's come down since I guess the ninth. This is a very long term chart, but you get the point. Our lifetimes are probably like right here. So you're not gaining a ton of value, if you sold that and bought this. But that's another thing you could do is you could have some Bitcoin, have some Chinese yuan, whatever the case may be. So that's what you're looking at there. You know what I mean? So I do think it's interesting though to see these world's reserve currencies and the price of them, and then we can maybe we can even get a a picture. Let's look at UK USA pound to dollar conversion over the past 250 years. See if we can Google that. Historical reference. I'm not sure if that goes back to 250 years. 1975. I want to go back further than that, though. Well, let's do 75 because it's kind of most of our lifetime. So pretty flat. So maybe it'll be a non-issue. Who the hell knows? Really don't know. So even going the reserve currency route, I mean, it's not bad. You know what I mean? So if you want to be diversified, which is what you're discussing, most of us are all in on the dollar. If you want to be diversified, if you want to be diversified, you buy some Chinese yuan, yen, whatever yuan I think it's called, and some Bitcoin, and then you go about your day. That's about it. So it was a joke, Midwest Picker. It was a joke, which is why I ribbed him right back. All right, next up, let's look at Solana. And speaking of which, I may as well keep my little tool up here for a little bit. So Solana here, cup and handle. Beautiful cup and handle. And we are getting some low volatility right now. Some low cup and handle here, cup and handle here, nice rally here. And you notice when volatility comes back in, when you have trend line breaks, I do believe we have an alert on this one at 172.37. So Solana, also a highly volatile crypto that will likely do very well, likely better than BTC. So 852% from our first $20.56 breakout point to where its actual cup and handle breakout point is. So doing pretty good. So when you talk about, moving to alts later, you move to alts when it's time to buy. That's what you do. There's no later. There is no later. You move, you buy the asset you want to buy when it's ready to go. That's what you do. And you don't do anything other than that. All right, there you go, Midwest Picker. Appreciate that. All right, XRP. We're going to blow through most of these. We've already pretty much done with the hour here, so I'm going to go through these. XRP. I'm going to get this breadth indicator off here. Actually, no, we'll leave it on. It's not really. I don't think it's doing too bad of a job here. So we'll see. I kind of like having some kind of a breadth indicator. XRP. So XRP, not much going on here. XRP. Most of these are really not in great positions. XRP is one of them. TON. This one has a cup and handle on it. We have an alert of 6.729. Now I can't alert on this one because it's OKX. You kind of have to do this one manually. I can only alert on coins on Binance. Pretty low volatility here. And if we can turn it around, I think we're in maybe in an area where you could maybe look at entries, but there hasn't been any low entries for a while now. Looking for them, they're just not really showing up. Next up is Dogecoin. Dogecoin in an interesting spot, holding support here at my prior alert at the 157.35. Holding support is fine, but not really able to get back up. It'll probably move with the market whenever it decides to move. But it did break through the trend line, and it's going sideways now. So, I say this often, it'll move, it'll have its move. Doge will have its move. It does. There's its move. There's a move there. There's a move there. There's a move there. It'll have its move. It usually does it at weird times. Next up is Cardano. Cardano also doing weird things, going sideways through the trend line, and it looks like we're just going sideways now. Bottom does appear to be in with some capitulation candles, so we shall see. Do I ever dabble in the names of Trump Dog with Haddock? No, I usually don't. I do analysis on them from time to time. When I do my other show for Altcoin Buzz Trading, I come across WIF all the time. It's on my radar. I probably looked at it 5 or 6 times now in the past couple of weeks as a top moving coin. But I really can't trade crypto. So it's just, I'm going to be opening an account with Kraken because I want to be involved in this rally. And I'll put some new capital in there. I don't know. I'm not sure how much yet. And I'll participate in that rally heavily leveraged. And I'll probably try to make $100,000. And then maybe I'll bow out of it. Maybe I'll just buy all BTC. I don't know. I need to figure that out. But they've really made crypto hard to trade in the U.S. I hate Kraken, but I think it's the only thing I'm going to have available to me. So, yeah, I don't really participate in those. I really do try to stick with when I do, when I did trade, I do try to stick with the larger names. I really do believe in that strategy. Now, if you want to be really risky, yeah, you trade those names. You buy on you can buy them on good dips and have great moves. Um, but that's not it's not a strong suit I've fostered. I haven't cultivated that. I have a hard time doing those types of things. So I buy breakouts. That's what I do. I try to follow the best ones. I try to follow Jesse Livermore. I try to follow William O'Neill. I try to follow those guys. Those are my mentors right there. That's what I do. Kraken's okay. Binance US is okay. I had Binance US a long time ago. Garbage. I didn't like it. It wasn't Binance US. It was just some other stupid exchange that licensed Binance's name. And Kraken. You can do some leverage trading. Um, so that's what I want to do. So I think Kraken's probably going to be the one. All right, let's move on to Shiba Swap. So Shiba coming back down. So this was kind of our trend line break alert here, the 26.27. Um, that was the high before the trend line break alert, 26.27. Yeah, coming back down. Not a fan of Doge and Shiba personally. Like I said, they're going to have their day, and they're going to do great when they do. They're going to do great when they do. But in this area, great rally up right there. But it's tough to time those things effectively. It's not super high quality. AVAX, I do like AVAX as a technology, but the market doesn't like it so much, unfortunately. 37.19 is current alert level in a declining wedge pattern here, but it's also kind of low and slow. We do have a higher low from here to here, which is nice, but we have broken a larger trend line and on pretty heavy volume, so it's tough for me to really think heavily about AVAX. It tried to break out here. Solana did and consolidated again. AVAX did not. So they're really preferring Solana over AVAX here, even though I think AVAX is an interesting technology. But it's not about what I think. It's about what the market thinks. Tron still trying to hold up above this longer term trend line. So far surviving. For how long? Who knows? Um, but this has been a tricky one to trade anyways. It does trade pretty well, but it trades on its own terms, and you have to respect that about it. But right now, I mean, if you're looking to buy something like this, you're putting stops at lows here, which isn't too bad, about a 2% stop loss, but you can probably expect it to come down further again and maybe get that stop loss a little bit tighter, and you probably will be stopped out if you want to buy here. DOT. DOT's been tough, and it's in a kind of a bearish rising wedge pattern. Their prior downtrend, rising wedge implies a downside move. If it does break up, then you can expect it to rally. But good thing is it kind of undercut and rallied on the trend line. So I would argue that's probably a positive. That was mid yesterday. That probably would have been the time to get in this if you wanted to with your stop at the bottom. I would argue now it's probably a little bit too wide just to randomly take a shot at it. Yeah, about 4.25% to the low, so your stop has to be 4.5 to 5%, which is just too far for random. Bitcoin Cash never really got going, unfortunately, sitting on its neckline for its head and shoulders pattern. This has a head and shoulders pattern. If it does break, if the market doesn't go up, this is a good shorting candidate right here. Great shorting candidate. It's had an amazing rally up and probably a big rally down, big drop down. Okay, so I think this is, if you're looking at short, if you think the market's not going to make it, I think this is a good candidate for short selling. It'll probably come down and come down fast. Chainlink. Surprise rally out of Chainlink here, out of the lows, and so far it's been a little bit tricky. 1663 is this line right there. So we broke this trend line. I guess maybe now we're just gonna morph this into some type of a channel, I guess, something like that. Interesting situation. Did have some good volume stepping in when the rest of the market did not. So there could be some hidden bullishness in this one. It's a little tricky though. No major base is forming. You could try to go off of a horizontal here at the 1920 level. It's a little bit tricky though. No major base pattern here. I usually won't buy any. I won't buy anything like that personally. I'm getting pickier as I get older with what I buy. Near Protocol. This was looking pretty good. Not amazing, but pretty darn good. Really didn't do anything here at the 8537. and rolling over here a little bit. Volume is getting lower though. You see the breadth indicator picking up that right there. So you look right here, we had a plethora of breadth indicators as well at the tail end of a consolidation, and we did rally. So let's look at that for a second. Ooh, look at that. Monday, Tuesday. That's not even a Saturday, Sunday. That's a Monday, Tuesday. And then boom. Your first pocket pivot is right here though. That's your first pocket pivot. So that probably would have been the first day to even consider entering, which probably would have been on the trend line break. A little after the trend line break. Yeah, a little after the trend line break, but not a bad spot. Would have been tough to buy, but you could have done it on the pocket pivot. And so now you're looking for a pocket pivot. It's going to have to beat this red candle. So it's going to have to be a good day. And the lower the better. You can look for pocket pivots on lower time frames. We just had one right here. This plus sign. First pocket pivot in what, 3 days? Not too bad. It's not an amazing candle though, but good stuff there for Near Protocol. I think it's going to have a good rally. It's just a little tough right now to contend with. You really have to be here in the moment to see the good price action to really get in good. All right, next up is Matic. Excuse me. This has been tough to do anything with. Pretty much just avoid Matic. It's just, yeah, most of these down here are garbage. Litecoin, pretty much garbage. I don't think there's anything really to do with Litecoin. Here's a little trend line. We have the 89.56, but we're kind of away from that. Next up is ICP. ICP here is a little downward trend line. This is the one we had a head and shoulders on. And we talked about covering down here because the market was looking to rally. And so it's coming back down, but yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to meet its measured move down here. This is another one if the market does decide to go sideways or down and not rally. This is another one too short. ICP and Bitcoin Cash with both with head and shoulder patterns. Next up is Leo, recent addition to the list and kind of a horrible addition to the list. Not a lot of volatility here. All right, see you, Picker. Have a good one, bud. Not a lot going on here. This one, I don't know. This one's a tough one. Crazy rally here. It's gonna be hard to buy though. And then Uniswap. Uniswap here. Local interim high, but really not doing anything. So this is giving up whatever it was trying to build. Kind of giving it up right now. All right, that was the top 20. So I'll do a quick overview of the top 20. Throw the timestamp. So going through the top 20, it's really about these top coins. It's really about Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and Solana. If those things start to rally, it's going to pull the whole market up out of a bunch of garbage price action. All these are in garbage price action right now. So we're in an interesting time. Could it be a BTC only rally? It's possible. Could it be, we get alts participating? It's possible. But I don't. You can't buy early in these. You really do have to wait for the market to show what it's going to do, and then go with it. Buying early usually leads to losses. It just does because the market moves on its own time frame. It's not going to move when you want it to move. It's going to move when it wants to move. And so that's something that you have to contend with. All right, I do have a few altcoins to look at. Let me write them down real quick. There's only 3 of them. Jasmy and Ondo. All right, let's take a look at those, and we'll take a look at some stocks for a little bit, and then we'll bounce. I think they're all in new Binance coins. Nope, ZEC is in USD pairs. All right, first up is ZEC. So this one, I noticed it the other day. I hadn't really talked about it much, obviously. New alert level here, 2706. It had a nice little move up here. It's got a nice concise flag on it. And I think today was the day to put the alert on it. So pretty good price action. We'll see if it follows through. It's nice and tight. Volume signature is okay. Could do without this big red candle, but kind of a much ado about nothing in reality. Kind of flip-flopped bulls and bears there. It went up together, sideways together, came right back down together on the VA tool. So not too bad on this one. Let's see if it can do something. Not sure if it will. And then new Binance coins, we have Jasmy. So we had Jasmine on here with a couple alert levels as this thing started breaking through 02, 021, 028. And it's doing great. It's doing really good. Good volume signatures, good high volume bars up here. VA2 looks great. Um, pullbacks on this likely should be bought at this time. Stops can be under any recent low. So right now, your stop right now, your tightest stop would be this 39. I'm sorry, 32,920 looks like a pretty good place. 032920. If it comes down, get as close to that as you can. If you get stopped out, you get stopped out. No big harm. But it is in the middle of a run. One of the few that has been. And we've caught pretty much all of it, I think. And the next up is Ondo. So we've been on top of Ondo as well. Here's another one with Breadth Indicator doing a kind of good job right here. Pretty good job. Rally 85.43, rally through at 104. Now, when I was doing the newsletter, it was right here. Now it's even continuing up. Beautiful volume here. This is actionable, actually. Probably one of the few things that we're looking at this actual up 2.25%. That is actionable. Your stop would be under this big candle at about 6.5%. I think that's the trade on this one. This is, look at this. This looks great. This looks really, really good. So we started following this. Looks like here, and then it did the big long base, and we were right on top of it here, right on top of it here, and it's actionable here as well. Can't say how far it's going to go, but it's looking really good and continuing this uptrend. There are a few that are, not too many though. All right, that was all I had. Let's take a look at stocks. Stocks really yesterday had a day that I wasn't expecting. Let's go daily chart. We can leave the breadth indicator on. Interested to see what it does here. So look what the Nasdaq TQQQ did yesterday. Look at this crazy ass hammer candle through the bounced off the 50-day, undercut it very slightly, bounced off the 50-day through the 21-day moving average, closed well above it, and look at the volume. That is a negative pocket pivot, but that is a pocket pivot on a huge candle day. So I actually wanted to look back. I had this thought early this morning. There's a hammer candle, kind of at a low level. There's a hammer candle, kind of at a low level. There's an inverted hammer candle at a low level. So we could be in for a nice little rally off of that candle, off of that Friday. There was some good inflation news. So that's going back about a year or so. You don't get too many hammer candles like that. You do get one here, sparks a rally. I'm sure we'll probably find some at highs that failed, right? But again, price action is all within context. It's all within context of the recent price action, of the volume, of all of it together. Here's a hammer. Volume really wasn't that impressive, and it didn't lead to anything. So, yeah, could we roll this over Monday? Absolutely we could, but it's looking good. Trying to look for pretty much any hammer candle. I think I may have an indicator for... You know what I got? Where's my bars are? I don't have bars are on here anymore? I don't have bars are on here? No way. I like the bars are. I'll gotta pull that up at some point. Anyway, good stuff from the TQQQ. Let's look at the index itself. The Nasdaq. Well, this isn't the index. This is the futures. Similar situation. Off the 50 through the 21. Great volume. S&P. Look at S&P rallying all the way up. It wasn't even a hammer candle. It was like a FU. I'm just gonna keep going candle. This looks really nice. Look at that volume candle. Bam. That's a Friday, but it's not a triple witching Friday. That's pretty good. That's a Thursday. That's a Friday. Big volume on that one. So we were low volume for a while here, worrying me a little bit as a matter of fact. But looking really much better today. Apple looking okay. Nice tight consolidation up here. Could try to go for these recent highs. We'll see if we can get through the 198. Kind of stalled up here at the 199, 200 level. Trying to get through that. If Apple gets through 200, this market is gone. Tesla, bunch of randomness, lower volume. Really not a lot going on with Tesla. Tesla's a dead trade. Soxel, this is a triple semiconductor ETF. Good day yesterday. Rally hard off the 21 day. Couldn't even get to the 50 day. The index got to the 50 day The TQs got to the 50-day. That's the triple Nasdaq. Look at the triple chips. Couldn't get to the 50-day. Look at that. And look here. Look at the bars are right here. So many low volume days, and you get this nice breakout right there. Look at that. Doesn't always work, but that's a beautiful job. Nvidia. Nvidia couldn't even get to the freaking 10-day. Nvidia is like, yeah, I'm not even gonna get to the 10-day. I'm gonna do like the 5-day. I don't know what it got to, but crazy, 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 crazy. Big wick. So if you look at this last run, when it couldn't get to the 10 days, like right here, right? Not as many pullbacks, but doing pretty good. So I'm trying to, all right, I'll be back in a moment. All right, thought my wife was yelling at the kids. It's all good. Um, yeah, good. I mean, great stuff. Nvidia, big gap up here on earnings through the 1,000 level. Probably won't come back to 1,000. If it does, other things are going to happen. It's going to split right here, 10 for 1. So actually, a good friend of mine, I should say a friend of mine, not sure. He said, Chipotle, look what Chipotle said when it was going to split. I don't know. Hasn't split yet. 50 for 1 split. Geez, it's going to go down to 100. Wow, what is that? 3,200 divided by 50? $64 a share. Crazy. Crazy Chipotle. What a good stock Chipotle is. Look at this thing, man. What a good stock Chipotle is. That's amazing. People say individual stocks are risky. No, they're not. Just stupid people doing individual stocks are risky. Fuckers. Um. Anyway, that's Chipotle. So Nvidia, we could rally into the split. We could sell off on the split too. It's we'll see. AMD with a great bounce off of its 21 day through the 50, actually through all three short-term moving averages, 50, 21, and 10-day moving. Came back down, slapped off this 21 day, and then boom, through all of them. So not bad. ARM, IBD is talking about a trend line break because for some reason IBD does trend lines now, which hurts my soul a little bit. Not a bad little pocket pivot right there on ARM. So the chips are holding up. ASML, leading chip name, holding up. SMCI. Ooh, not a good day yesterday. I didn't look at that. I saw that. It's not a buy signal, and not in my book, not for stocks, not for what I do. And yeah, not good. ExxonMobil with a great day yesterday. Look at that. Beautiful pocket pivot over all kinds of volume, and hopefully it'll bring some stability. Unfortunately, it'll probably bring higher gas prices. Square, bunch of garbage. GLD. GLD, the whole metal sector has been unable to move this past week or two. I think we're rolling back into tech. Microsoft, look at Microsoft's day. Big hammer, huge volume. That's like 2.5 times average volume. That is massive volume on a nice hammer candle. Big volume here. That's an end of the year Friday. So that's the reason why that one was so big. This one, kind of weird little gap up and pull back, came right back. So yeah, not a bad spot. So things are looking pretty good here. JP Morgan with a good day. JP Morgan looks like it's going to break out from this kind of weird cup and handle pattern. So we'll see about that. But if it can hold the 10-day on some of these rallies, it goes on some good spurts. ConocoPhillips, okay, came all the way back down to this early breakout point. And looks like picking up some big shares. So there's some support down here. How's Backblaze doing? Oh, came all the way back down. I like Backblaze as a business. Amazon, not as positive of a day, but yeah, having a hard time going into these highs. Facebook, gap down on earnings, rally into the gap, and then so far not able to go back above it. So not bad, but still a very pointed very pointed rally, but the market's looking better. It's not a very broad market rally. I don't know when we're going to get another one, but these chips are really holding the market up, and it is what it is. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for joining me on the live show today. I appreciate it. You guys have a great day. You can find me at real-crypto.com and maybe on YouTube another day. So I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. Bye.